Hello everybody, it's Moolman your GardenGuy, and well, the rain's starting to let up a bit here, so I just thought I'd give you some tips quickly about what you could be doing in your garden whilst it's raining and straight after the rain. After the rain, just that moment when it lets up a bit, that's when you should be in your garden. That's one of the best times to be in your garden because it's so beautiful. You know, you can actually physically feel the life that the rain has breathed into your garden. You hear little birds chirping and you see the water dripping off little leaflets, and all the little snails come out to play, and of course then you can get rid of the buggers because you can see them. You know, they love the wet, moist weather. But I'd say that's one of the best times to enjoy your garden, and that's why every garden should have a seating place, somewhere to sit and just enjoy the space. I mean, you spend so much time building this stunning garden and you don't get time to enjoy it. You know, there's so many studies and proven facts out there that gardening really is a natural antidepressant. I mean, nowadays you see so many people popping pills left and right. Everybody's on some sort of antidepressant or some pill and meds. You know, nature has its way, and gardening is a terrific natural way to release stress, to work against depression, and to just make life worth living a bit, you know, to enjoy what there is to live out there in life. So that's my first tip. Enjoy the garden. Enjoy living in the space outside your house. Especially now in lockdown. I'm sure some of you must be going crazy in there. Seriously, get in the garden. It's so much fun. It's raining, so what? Let's have a jog, man. The second thing you want to be doing in and just after the rain is weeding, pulling weeds out in the garden. You know, so many people will tell you, yes, I garden, but it comes to weeding, no, I leave that to the garden helper or the garden engineer, as many people call them. And you know, that's so silly. Weeding is one of the most fun things to do in the garden. You know, it's like almost like a natural sort of high you get to go on when you're weeding there on your own. You're just sitting there in this meditative state, pulling weeds out and logging them into a bucket, and you look again and hours have gone by, and you've had this stunning little moment of just self-awareness and sort of self-time, which in the modern life you never really get. So get out there in the garden straight after the rain and get weeding, man. It's so much fun. My third tip after and during heavy rains is to turn your compost heap. You don't want your compost heap lying there in all this wet wateriness. It ends up in a slimy little mess ball in there, and all sorts of sicknesses and crappy things get developed there in your garden, in your compost heap. You want a nice aerated, fluffy compost heap. Just turn it a bit. Just till it over a bit, and add some brown materials, as we call them, or ground up papers, or some sort of a more dry material that you want to add to the compost heap so it doesn't become this wet little sipspool. The next tip during rainy weather would be to find out which plants need to be staked or need to be helped out a bit, need to be supported a bit. Often when heavy rains and some winds come through the garden, you'll find pieces of plants breaking off and falling onto the ground or leaning over. You know, that's the perfect place for little pathogens and fungi and things to start developing where that little leaf touches the soil, or where that branch is broken open, for fungi and things to start off there and diseases to get into the plants. So look out for that just after the rain. Have a look, just stroll through your garden while you're enjoying it, and you hear the birds singing and smell the smells of the rain that's just passed through. Have a look at which parts of the plants are broken and stake and help them out where necessary. My last little tip, and this one you should be doing while it's still raining, is look out where in the garden water naturally flows. You know, when there's a heavy rainstorm, you'll see in the garden will speak to you and tell you, this is where water's flowing and this is where it's piling up, and here you need a little bit more drainage, and here you maybe need to build the raised bed a bit, or put in a low little lidded pond. You know, put in a low lidded pond. If you see water piling up somewhere, build a pond there, and water can naturally flow towards that point, and your pond will always be full of water, and it will be lovely rainwater, and you'll be surprised with how many things naturally start growing in and around that little space. And that's really important to zone your plants accordingly. I think the main tip is get out there, don't be scared of the little bit of water. I mean, you're a human, it's natural, it's life itself. Get in the garden and enjoy it, man. That's what it's about. Why you want to sit there on your couch staring at this technological crap? Get in the garden and live life. That's why we're here, man. I've been Carl Moolman, your garden guy. Thank you for your time. I hope these tips have helped you a bit. Please leave a comment or invite a friend to check out the channel. And thank you for all the support we've been having so far. It's been terrific. We've had such a positive influence. Thank you again for your time. I've been Carl Moolman. Until next time, happy gardening and enjoy it.